Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Muhammad Nasir Adif BPD, AA17145. I am the presenter of the second group. Today I want to present the chapter 2, the historical background of Malaysia. Why Malacca was selected as a favorite port by traders and invaders? Malacca rose from a humble fishing village to become a major center of the spice trading, forming a vital link between the east and the west. Second, in fact, the earliest written record of country made reference to the Malacca Peninsula instead of Malay Peninsula or Malaya. 3. The location was strategic for trading and people were so accommodating. 4. The administration flourished and easily influenced, embraced and applied the Islamic religion. In the map, we can see the Malacca was located by the sea and the trading was occur at the place. This is the journey how para Miswara come to Malacca. Para Miswara is the founder of Malacca. In 40,000, para Miswara come to Malacca. He comes from Sumatra. A prince who descended from Salindra. Tom Pierce in his book Suma Oriental has suggested that para Miswara fled Palembang, which was attacked by Majapahit when Palembang declared its independence from the declining Majapahit. In Singapore, para Miswara had killed Temagi, the representative of the Kingdom of Ayutthaya, Siam. 5 years later, para Miswara was forced to flee from Singapore when Ayutthaya had attacked him to avenge the killing of its representative. Meanwhile, para Miswara attempted to build a base but abandoned the project because the place was not suitable. Lastly, para Miswara found a place that named Batam. He wanted to build a new territory was suitable to build the settlement. Batam was actually named after a river where para Miswara stopped to take a rest before continuing the journey. The surroundings were calm. He could see people doing barter trading, lemon and merchant. During the hunting trip, unusual thing happened when a mouse deer kicked para Miswara hunting dog. Seeing the bravery of the mouse deer, he decided to stay and establish his base there. He named the place Malacca after the name of the tree he was leaning against. 3 factors that contributing for Malacca development. Firstly, the social factor. Second, political, and the third, geographical. In political sector, China was a major power during 15th century. China established political power and influence in South China Sea region. China used to send its admiral Yin Qing and Cheng Ho to Malacca to reinforce China's recognition of Malacca. Malacca accepted their friendship. Trade from Siam and Majapahit were kept at bay. In 1414, with coming of Muslim traders, missionaries for Arab, para Miswara Wesley embraced Islam and changed his name to Sultan Mahkota Iskandar Shah. Since then, the term Raja also changed to Sultan. His marriage to a princess from Pasai strengthened his relationship with Pasai. In social factor, para Miswara's success as a ruler of Malacca is contributed by his charisma with his people. He had inherited the attribute of sovereignty from the rulers of the Malay Palembang or Sriwijaya. Besides this, other factors include the presence of the Malay nobility who had been with him since he was ruler of Palembang and the support of the Orang Laut or Orang Selat throughout his reign in Palembang until the early period of his settlement in Malacca. In geographical, the kingdom conveniently controlled the global trade vital point, the narrow strait that today bears its name, Strait of Malacca. The port city had become the most center of regional trade to attract most of the traders from archipelago, traders from Sumatra, Port of Sunda, Java and Bugis. Also, Malacca was far away from monsoon wind that can disturb the trading activity. The political and administration system of Malacca. The Sultan of Malacca, leader of the country, head of religion, the leaders of law. Bendahara, the advisor of the king, principal minister, control the military, the judge, royal custom and tradition. Penghulu Bendahari, as the Treasurer, Temanggung as the Minister of Armed Police, Laksamana as the Police and Admiral. Rule and regulation. The Melaka law was considered the earliest Malay law. The law was taken at the base for the other law sources such as in Pahang, Nantinan Perak, Johor and Kedah law. The Melaka law was compiled during the reign of Sultan Muzaffar Shah 1612. It was used as reference especially in the international relations, administration and social life, including religious activities. It was divided into two, Melaka Court Law and the Melaka Law of the Sea. The fall of Melaka Sultanate. Two factors that contribute to the fall of Melaka Sultanate is the internal factor and the external factor. In the internal factor, after the demise of Bendahara Tun Perak, the Melaka government did not have a good successor. Bendahara Tun Mutahir had a weak administrative system and it led to the misuse of power. Sultan Mahmud also was a weak leader and he did not care about the administration. Third, bribery and slander spirit. It was reflected in the murder of Bendahara Tun Mutahir and Tun Ali instructed by Sultan Mahmud because of slander by Kitu and Raja Mandalia. Fourth, the increase in tax led to traders changing their view about Melaka and look for another port. Fifth, it became more critical when the Portuguese came twice and Alfonso the Abu attacked Melaka before it fell to the hand of Portuguese. The external factor, the Cape of Good Hope was found by Bartholomew Diaz in 1488, extend the journey of Europeans to Melaka. At the same time, Melaka having some problems that give the opportunity to Portuguese to extend their power. The imperialism in Malay. The Portuguese were the first European colonial power to establish themselves of Malay peninsulas and Southeast Asia, capturing Malacca in 1511. In 1511, Alfonso the Albuquerque set sail from Goa to Malacca with force of some 1,200 men and 17 or 18 ships. The Viceroy made a number of demands, which one was for permission to build a fortress as a Portuguese trading post near the city. Secondly, followed by Dutch in 1540. The Dutch East Company Asia, with their local allies assault and finally wrested Malacca from the Portuguese in January 1641. This combined Dutch Johor Aceh effort effectively destroyed the last bastion of Portuguese power, reducing their influence in the archipelago. However, after that in 1700 and 1800, it was the British who after initially established base at the Sultan Kuching and Penang and Singapore, ultimately secured the hegemony across the territory that is now Malaysia, now known as Malaya at the time. Its trading posts again more economic clout as British trade with China expand. Mining of tin and gold bring influx of Arab, Indian and Chinese immigrants who soon control the business. In 1824, British and Dutch signed the Anglo-Dutch Treaty of 1884. Malay world split into two identities, laying the Malay into identity that is Indonesian Malayan boundary and the Anglo-Siamese. The Treaty of 1909 defined the boundaries between British Malaya and Siam, which become Thailand now. British Crown Colony, which also known as a trade settlement, was established in 1826 and slowly but certain. The British increased their power over the rest of the peninsula. At first, it was primarily spice taken from the present Malaysia, but when in the early 19th century, tin supply were discovered, the trade shifted rapidly. The British first colonized the peninsula and after that, between 1840 and 1882, also annexed East Malaysia, which is Sabah and Sarawak, into the British Crown Colony. In this period, British invite many foreigners who immigrate from Chinese and India as workers to meet the needs of the colonial economy created by the British in the Malay Peninsula and Borneo. After that, Japanese invasion during World War II and British Malaya. At 1941, Japan bombed Singapore and Kota Baru in Kelantan. Unprepared and outmanned for a land assault, British forces arrived at Singapore force in February 1942. From 1942 to 1945, during Japanese occupation, exports are still straight. Nationalism grows and ethnic tension between Malay, Chinese, and Indian are exacerbated. Japan's so-called Ching, which called purification through suffering campaign, leads to the death of nearly 80,000 ethnic Chinese in Malaya and Singapore. The subsequent occupation of Malaya, North Borneo, and Sarawak from 1942 to 1945 unleashed nationalism, although the nationalism among the local had existed before the World War II during the British occupation. Most were thwarted. In 1945, after US atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, British began control of Malaya. After that, in 1946, United Malay National Organisation or UMNO is formed by On bin Jaafar, Chief Minister of Johor, after Japanese surrender from Malaya due to being defeated by Allies. Malaya Union was established in 1946 by the British administration but following opposition by the ethnic Malay. The, the, the union was reorganized as the Federation of Malaya in 1948 as the protectorate state until 1947. The third subtopic of history of Malaysia is how Malaysia get the independence. In 1946, Malaya Union was created. The characteristic of Malaya Union is firstly made up of the 9 Malay states, Penang Island and Malacca. Secondly, the British governor was chief administrator, which is centered in Kuala Lumpur, and executive council and legislative council will assist the governor. The Malay rulers only advise the governor, while their sovereignty as ruler of their own state was eliminated. Fourth, the characteristic, the state council was retained for the purpose of managing the local government, but was still subjected to control by the central government. Fifth, the Malay Union did not involve Singapore. Singapore still remained as British colonial territory under the rule of a British Governor General. Sixth, citizenship was based on the principle of jus soli. Throughout this principle, Malay citizenship was obtained if the foreigner was 18 and above and had resided in Malaya for 10 out of the year of 15 before 15 February 1942. B, a person who was born in Malaya after the forming of the Malaya Union. The seventh characteristic is the equal right for all citizens regardless of the race of origin. This includes the entry into government service and the right to vote in the general election. What is some reason why British introduced to Malaya Union to protect the priorities of the British in Malaya. Secondly, to set up the course of administration in Malaya. Third, to form a systematic administration in Malaya by standardizing the administration of the Malaya Union. Fourth, to prepare Malaya citizens to form their own government. This is some reason that Malay people did not accept the Malaya Union proposal. Firstly, the method employed by the Sir Harold Macmillan. Secondly, the power of sovereignty of Malay king was affected. Third reason is about the jus soli, and the fourth reason is equal right among the people in the Malaya. The British government finally agreed to replace the Malaya Union with a new form of government known as the Federation of Malaya. The process of the independence. Firstly, the member system of 1951 consists of 9 members selected among the local leaders: Datuk On Jaafar, Datuk EEC Tuan Singgam, Tun Ashifli, Datuk Muhammad bin Mat, Tengku Yaakob and Dr. Lee Tian Keng. Second process, a local council election in 1952, 1951 to 1952. In the some place in the Western Penang election was occur. Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, Muar and Melaka. In Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, Muar and Melaka, UMNO MCA won the majority vote, but in Georgetown, Pulau Pinang, Radical Party won 6 of the 9 seats. In 1955, Malaya had the federal election. The result of this election, member system was replaced by the minister system, and Tunku Abdul Rahman was elected as the first chief minister of the Malay state. This is the result of the federal election in 1955. The Alliance Party win the 51 chair among the 52 chair that contest in the federal election. The fourth process to achieve the independence is the Reid Commission, or it's called the Suruhanjaya Reid. The commission was formed in 1956 to structure the constitution of Federation for Malaya. The member of the Reid is Lord Reid, leader from Britain, Sir Virginia Britain, Sir William McKell Australia, B. Malik India, Judge Abdul Hamid Pakistan. The most important memorandum out of 121 written ones that were taken into account during the drawing up the constitutional framework came from the Malay rulers and the Alliance. In the process, the community exercised a compromise in matters relating to their interests. For example, the conditions for citizenship for the non-Malays were made more flexible for the non-Malays, while the non-Bumiputra indigenous tribes were given the basic special Bumiputra status. The Constitution accepted and approved by Federal Legislative Council on 15 August 1957 came into effect on 27 August 1957. The most highlight in the Constitution is the protection of Malay rulers, special privilege of the Malay people, Bahasa Melayu as the official language, Islam as the official religion, citizenship right for the Bumiputra. In the fifth process, proclamation of the independence, the celebration of Malay independence took place the minute the clock ticked the first second on the 31 August 1957. The Union Jack, the British flag, was brought down for the first time. The flag of the independent Malaya, now known as Jalur Gemilang, was flown. Head down on 31st August 1957, the ceremony for the Declaration of Independence and the official signing of the Declaration of Independence took place at Merdeka Stadium. The Yang Di-Pertuan Besar of Negeri Sembilan, Tunku Abdul Rahman, was chosen the first Yang Di-Pertuan Agong of Federation of Malaya. This is on 31st August 1957. Tunku Abdul Rahman shot out Merdeka 7 times at Stadium Merdeka. It is a symbol of independence of Malaya. The formation of Malaysia. The idea of Malaysia has been brought up by many, including, for example, David Marshall, Ghazali Shafi'i, Tan Cheng Lock, and Lee Kuan Yew. Tunku Abdul Rahman started voicing it in 1955, willing of accepting not only Singapore but Brunei, Sabah and Sarawak. Different reaction from many. Why to form Malaysia? Independent through unification, common understanding for development, ethnic balance and unity, collective fight against communism, economic cooperation, united in international relations. Tunku idea was widely accepted because the suggestion was concrete and had a clear vision. Positive comment from media in future member countries. Follow-up action and survey helped to convince the people. Reaction in the Malaya. They live 950, not very keen to include Singapore. However, with Sabah and Sarawak joining, the idea for unification became popular. Past opposed the idea claiming Malays would lose especially in economy. Reaction in Singapore. Generally well accepted earlier on. Lee Kuan Yew was most interested with the idea. Later, United People Party objected the idea and fought the People Action Party (PAP) regarding the idea. However, this made Tunku and Lee's determination rise to get the idea realized. Reaction in Brunei, not unanimously accepted. Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin was very insistent with the idea. Opposed by A.M. Azhari, Brunei People Party, A.M. Azhari want to create North Kalimantan, including Sabah, Sarawak and Brunei. Reaction in Sabah and Sarawak. People reaction was most encouraging. No strong opposition was shown. Why? Free from British rule, to combat communism. People reaction are different. Anxiety, uncertainty and doubt about the new country are questions people have inside their mind. Therefore, Kuala Lumpur created a specially formed committee to verify and answer the people question. Other actions are also taken. Singapore referendum and the UN investigation. Consulting with the British, Philippines and Indonesia. Cobalt Commission. One is if proven that majority want to form Malaysia, the form and structure of a new nation was determined. Intergovernment Lansdowne Committee used the Constitution of the Federation of Malaya as basis for the Constitution of Malaysia. Brunei withdrawal from Malaysia. 9 July 1963, Brunei pulled out of the Federation. The Federation was completely taken by surprise by it. Some give and take issue are said to be the cause of the decision. Number of seats in legislature and parliament, control and oil and other minerals, monetary autonomy, Brunei earlier investment, method of taxation, authority in education and welfare, matters of religion, citizenship, Brunei security guarantee, position of Sultan and Brunei status within Malaysia, formation of Malaysia, 8 July 1963, Malaysia Agreement signed in London, 16 September 1963, Malaysia officially proclaimed. External opposition for the formation Malaysia came from Indonesia and Philippines. Why they protest? Indonesia claims Sarawak is a part of Indonesia. Philippines claims Sabah is a part of Philippines. Philippines several diplomatic ties with Malaya. Indonesia launched a movement of confrontation against Malaya which continued until August 1966. Singapore withdrawal. Singapore-Kuala Lumpur relations start to deteriorate after the first Malaysian general election in 1964. PAP leaders belated MCA. MCA sees in its PAP intention to take over MCA role of protecting the interests of the Chinese community. UMNO are also offended by PAP's action. Singapore withdrawal is effect of the first general election. Chinese confused, Malay generally suspicious of Lee Kuan Yew. This caused riot to happen twice in 21 July 1964 and 2 September 1964. Tunku and Lee's relationship deteriorate. To save the situation, Tunku state Lee's ideas of separation may be the only solution to handle a stressful situation. 6 August 1965, separation agreement signed between Tunku and Lee. 9 August 1965, Parliament passed the Separation Act and Singapore finally left Malaysia. Conclusion: the history of formation Malaysia is not long but full of interesting events. Issues such as interests of future member countries, internal problems, cooperation and conflict are some of the lessons we learn from the formation of the glorious nation. Thank you. That all from me, and thank you.